Yeah.
It's George.
It's Elaine.
Come on up.
Hey, Vinny, listen.
I never heard anything like this in my life. Listen to this.
This is exciting! This is exciting! Huh? Did I miss anything already?
Kramer, get in.
Where's the crazy man?
Hey, sit down. Come on, it's about to start.
Hello, and welcome to Seincast, a retrospective on all 180 episodes of Seinfeld, being hosted by two guys who can barely run their own lives. My name is Vinny.
My name is Matt.
Matt, how you doing?
Well, it's interesting. We're doing we usually record around, pretty early in the morning, and now we're doing 11:30 p.m. recording.
A little peek behind the microphone.
I'm not wearing any pants.
Oh, that's nice.
A little bit of Seinfeld news to get us started.
Okay, I have no idea what this is.
Hey, I got news for you.
Great news. All right, I got news. You ready?
What? What?
This, Vinny, is a little Reddit AMA, not with Jerry Seinfeld, who we, I think, talked about, during season 1 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
This is with Bob Balaban, who you might know as Russell Dalrymple, the head of NBC.
D-A-L-R-I...
Not even close.
There we go.
Okay. Now, I didn't even know about this AMA. I would have loved to ask Mr. Balaban a question and not have it answered.
There you go.
Like when we tried to ask Jerry a question
Good call.
this summer. But there was something really interesting that caught my eye here. You know how we are really obsessed with the Elaine character?
We know.
Just like the Russell character himself, he becomes quite infatuated with Elaine. Well, someone asked, do you think Russell has ever gotten over his rejection by Elaine?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Are you sitting down?
No.
In fact, Vinny's standing this entire episode. Poor guy. Can't find a chair.
I'll deal.
Oh, hey, you're just like the security guard.
Hey, how fitting.
We're all over the place this episode. That's what happens when we record late at night. Anyways, Bob Balaban responded to that question, whether or not Russell has ever gotten over his rejection by Elaine, by saying, well, I would say Russell really did not get over his rejection by Elaine because, spoilers, he drowned and didn't have enough time to get over it. However, he gets in a little behind-the-scenes trivia here. When he was first cast as Russell, they told me Larry David had a general outline for the arc of the character. And in the original concept, Elaine was going to fall madly in love with me. We were going to sleep together, and she was going to experience her first orgasm with him.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
insane?
Huge.
That's huge, man.
That's major. That could have been a major turning point, a major deviation from what we knew as the oh my god, from what we have known as the character. And I love the way his arc ended, and I love the one with Elaine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad they did it the way they did. But anything where this was the original draft or the original way it was written, I live for that stuff. So that's juicy.
That's some juicy stuff right there. That's a pretty revealing tidbit about Elaine, the fact that at this point, or at least the plan was that she would never have had an actual orgasm, which I think a lot of people, women, deal with in their life. I don't know why we're on this topic, two guys talking about female orgasms, but,
tread lightly.
Well, it is difficult for some women to have an orgasm, and she even tells Jerry when...
I just didn't have them back then.
Exactly. It's just something that you might not have at a certain point in your life. So, I don't know why. I kind of like the fact that they abandoned this plot line. It sort of puts... I don't know. I don't want to say it diminishes the Elaine character, but I don't like the idea of Elaine being sort of ruled over by this guy. I like the fact that...
She's ruled over by no man.
Yeah, I like the fact that Russell is the one who is, pining after her. He's the one that really wants to be with her, and she's the one pushing him away. I don't know. It just strengthens her character the way they eventually went.
She's very charming.
All right. I think we're done for Seinfeld news for this week.
Thank God.
Vinny, what episode do we have today?
We are discussing the 12th episode of season 2, The Revenge. Written by Larry David, directed by Tom Schronis, and it aired April 18th, 1991. This was actually the first episode to be written solo by Larry David.
Yeah.
Or at least being credited. I mean, Jerry and Larry worked together with adding little touches here and there. But this is the first one where Larry gets a solo credit with no Jerry.
And for everyone listening, Vinny and I are following the episode order on our DVDs, which might contradict the air date order or most online guides. We recommend everyone pick up Seinfeld on DVD. And If you prefer not to, though, just check out our show notes and you can look at the episode order that we're following. For this episode, there is quite a bit of trivia and maybe some things we should address right at the top here. There's a sort of a catalyst that gets this whole story going, which is George quitting his job. And it was based on the fact that he couldn't use his boss's private bathroom, right?
Yes.
Now, this was sort of inspired by the fact that Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld had their own bathroom in their office while working on this show. And Larry Charles, a writer we talk a lot about on this show, his office was right next to theirs, and he would actually take it upon himself to use their bathroom all the time, which inspired that George storyline. Mm-hmm. And what happens, after the bathroom incident is George quitting his job. And I'm sure a lot of Seinfeld fans, casual and diehards, know that this is based on Larry David quitting his job at SNL. Vinny, can you tell me a little bit about this story?
Sure. This was during the 1984-85 season of SNL. Larry had been a writer there his first year. He got one sketch on at 5 to 1 in the morning. It's usually when they put the last, the weaker sketches on.
Or the weirdest sketch.
The weird ones, which is, very appropriate for Larry. Larry was fed up and he quit and he just stormed out. And then he realized, I don't know if he was talking to, if somebody kind of talked him into it.
You know who that person was?
I'm going to guess Kenny Kramer.
Yeah.
Hey, look at me.
Larry's neighbor while living in New York.
Larry realized how much money he'd be giving up a year's worth of salary. So they came up with this idea of, hey, why don't you just show up to work, pretend like it never happened? Fortunately for Larry, that it worked out. He got to finish out his season at SNL and got his paycheck.
Which is incredible, just the fact that you could... I've never quit a job, stormed out. I've always put in my 2 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever's needed, but the idea of quitting on the spot has always been sort of a fantasy in the back of my head. It's
something you only see in movies.
Sure. That's exactly what I said. But quitting and coming back, that takes, if I can use the expression, that takes balls, man.
Big ones.
Big ones. Big cojones. So let's see. We got a lot more trivia to address, but I think we should just get into the episode proper. How does that sound?
Sounds great, Wayne.
Whenever I see the news and they're hauling in some criminal, terrorist, psycho, maniac, mass murderer guy, he's always covering up his face with the newspaper, with the jacket, with the hat. What is he worried about? What is this man's reputation that he has to worry about this kind of exposure damaging his good name? What is he, up for a big job promotion down at the office or something? Afraid the boss is going to catch this on TV and go, isn't that Johnson from sales? He's up in that clock tower picking people off one by one. I don't know if that's the kind of man we want heading up that new branch office. He should be in bill collection. I think he's got aptitude.
I think this is an amazing opening stand-up. I love this stand-up.
You sound so sarcastic.
No, I'm being serious. It's the standing.
Oh, you're standing. That's why
Sorry, everybody. If I sound different tonight, I'm in a basement. It's echoey. So bear with us.
We all have to speak at a certain volume so no one wakes up in the other room.
Yeah.
You like the stand-up though. This is one of your favorites.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. Because I remember growing up as a kid, and when they'd have a big criminal trial, you would always see the guy being led to the police car, and they'd always be covering his face with his jacket. And Jerry just picks it apart perfectly. And it's one of those things where it's like he hits a home run or he hits the ball flush effortlessly, and it's so perfectly put.
Now, help me out here. Why are they covering their face? I get the point he's making, but I always thought they were covering their face when they were initially arrested, and it's the first time they see the press, and they don't want to be shown. But if you're someone as he mentions, a terrorist, a psycho, a maniac, a mass murderer, chances are you either want the media attention or you've already had your photo taken a million times.
I guess.
There's this narcissistic side to these criminals.
There you go. I didn't think that far ahead into it. I just think of that image of a criminal or an alleged criminal, leaving a courtroom, covering up their face.
Yeah, there's shame. Really interesting to note. We mentioned the DVDs earlier in the show. If you guys don't own these DVDs, it's a real shame. That's a shame. But Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jason Alexander, and Michael Richards actually provide a commentary track for this episode. It's just wonderful to hear these actors, just kind of dissect the episode and share their thoughts. And there was one observation that Julia made that the outfit Jerry is wearing, and I didn't pick up on this at first, is it's a little weird. It's like a turtleneck. There's no tie. He's usually wearing a suit, but this is like a turtleneck with a jacket, and she comments how it's not a good look for him.
Whenever I think of Jerry in the turtleneck, I think of the thin, single, and neat Jerry from The Outing.
Yes.
So I didn't even notice that, the fact that he's wearing a turtleneck with a sport jacket.
Or the, the robbery episode where he's going over like the, Mr. Packer.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, the Master Packer.
Remember in with the Dream Cafe with Babu Bot, and he's peeking out the window with the binoculars, and he puts the turtleneck over his face like this, and he goes, "Bazooka Joe." You hate that.
It's a love-hate relationship. All right, our first scene of the episode is in Levitan's office. Rick Levitan.
So,
Right
is
at the
that a
gate.
problem?
Haven't even gotten to the scene yet. No, go ahead.
It.
I have to bleep that.
So he later on he talks about Rick Bar Properties, right? So that's how I had this as a setting. Mm-hmm. And I originally always called him Levitan because that's what Jerry called him. But then is he Rick Bar? Is this a question?
I thought you were going to save this for that scene where he mentions Rick Bar Properties. But it is funny how his name is Rick Levitan.
Yeah.
But he's not the head of Rick Bar Properties, or is he?
Perhaps.
It might be sort of like a Don Draper sort of thing. He's the, as you can tell from his good looks and his adultery, he is the Don Draper of the office, but he works for Sterling Cooper. He works for two people higher up than him.
All right.
That is my bullshit minute.
And you're sticking to it. So Levitan's played by Fred Applegate, and I usually like to find some sort of connection to a Seinfeld. Either they starred in a movie or a TV show with another Seinfeld alum or whatever. So this one is kind of a reach. But he was...
I like your rules. I like they started with a Seinfeld actor or whatever.
Whatever. You make it what it is. So Fred it's like 6 degrees of Seinfeld. But Fred Applegate was in the Producers movie remake, the one with Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Producers, I think Larry David on Broadway. So it's a really weak connection, but I'm putting it out there.
I like it. Actually, Jason Alexander mentioned in the commentary that he did the Producers with Fred Applegate in L.A.
Oh, there you go.
Fred Applegate was in a sitcom that aired on NBC called FM, and it only ran for 10 episodes. And this is around the time that Seinfeld didn't get picked up for a fall schedule. Mm-hmm. So NBC chose this show over Seinfeld.
FM, those bastards.
And it kind of had, from my understanding, kind of like a news radio sort of vibe where it was about a radio station. But yeah, Fred Applegate was on it. So interesting. If that show had worked out, we never would have gotten Fred Applegate in Seinfeld. And I was just looking at the cast of FM. Also interesting to note for other, like 90s sitcom fans out there, Patricia Richardson was on it, and she went on to play Jill Taylor, the mom on Home Improvement.
Her?
Which started in 1991, so that's just a year or so after that season ended, or that show ended, FM.
Okay.
And even more interesting to note, because I love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, James Avery, who played Uncle Phil in that show, was also on FM. And so when FM ended, he went straight on to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which...
Wow.
Pretty cool, right? Like
what could have been and what could have not been. Wow,
right.
That's incredible.
Just goes to show these, just because your show fails doesn't mean your career is over. But anyways.
Good pull. I like it.
Onto the scene itself. Rick Levitan is on the phone talking to some guy named Brecky.
Brecky!
That is our character of the episode that we never get any info on. Nope. He's just a name. Reminding to tell him what he and this girl did in Lake George. And I love how you referenced this at the closing of last week's episode, Vinny. He got it all on video.
Thank you. Ooh, he is such a sleazeball, this Levitan guy.
I don't know if it's just his misogyny or if it's maybe that's it. Just as simple as that.
Part of it.
But I mean, the creepy factor, the videotape, you can just tell this guy's a skis-ball. Yeah. And what do you have but George storming into the office?
That's it. This is it. I'm done. Through. It's over. I'm gone. Finished. Over. I will never work for you again. Look at you. You think you're an important man? Is that what you think? You are a laughingstock. You are a joke. These people are laughing at you. You're nothing. You have no brains, no ability, nothing. I quit.
Now, the first thing I thought about, we certainly know that George gets fired quite often in the series run. But are there any other jobs where he actually quits? He leaves on his own accord?
I don't think he ever quits. He's either like fired or there's sort of an understanding.
So the only thing I can think of is he tries to get fired from the Yankees after he gets that better job with the Mets, but he can't even do that. He fails at failing. But it made me think of Bodysuit Man.
Oh yeah. If you had to rate this quitting though, how would you rate it? I don't know if you've ever quit a job before, but
I have not.
This is sort of what I think I fantasize, and probably most people fantasize about when they really want to tell their boss off. I mean, this is pretty outside of just really just swearing and really ripping into someone. I think this is pretty close. Have you ever wanted to do this though? Quit, tell someone off.
No, because I don't think I've ever been in a job that I've just been miserable in.
Yeah.
I've been like, I don't like it, but never, yeah. You?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not in my, I've had a few outbursts in my life where I've really lost my temper, but I've never gone through with it when it comes to like my job, because at the end of the day, I don't care if I'm flipping burgers or, working at like in a posh office somewhere. I never want to burn a bridge with people for whatever reason. Next scene is at Jerry's apartment, and he is getting a laundry bag together when Kramer enters. This is interesting. It's not a goofy Kramer moment. He's pretty not down, but he's just like an average Joe.
I said the exact same thing. There's no slide. He's really subdued, and he just walks in very casually.
And he says he's really had it with none other than Newman.
Interesting to note, first mention of Newman, like you said, but in the script, it was originally spelled as Neuman. Oh, Newman.
Oh, Newman. Oh, that's good. Rhymes with Schumann.
There you go. He woke Kramer up at 3 a.m. saying he was going to go on the roof and kill himself. Kramer told him to jump. He says Newman's been threatening to do this for years. But the storyline of Newman committing suicide never comes back once Newman becomes an established character. I thought that was kind of cool, or interesting, I should say.
It is interesting. Almost like this, they could have replaced the name Newman with any other character, and it probably would have made more sense. Like,
this is Dr. Blumen. I'm sorry.
What's that from?
I just wanted something that rhymed with Newman. It wasn't Schumann. Dr. Blumen from Arrested Development. Thank you.
Yeah, this whole storyline is a bit perplexing. It's a really weird intro to Newman because, well, one, we never see him, which is just bizarre way to introduce, like, arguably the fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
In a sense. What confuses me is this, like, kind of the joke surrounding the suicide, because Kramer goes on this little thing here, as you mentioned. He's been threatening to do it for years. I say, do it already and stop bothering me. And then Kramer would at least respect him for accomplishing something.
Yeah.
I don't get if this is supposed to be funny, or is the irony that Kramer hasn't accomplished anything and here he is, like, criticizing someone else's life.
I don't know. What comes to mind is, when you're growing up and you have, like, I think Jerry actually does a bit about this in a subsequent episode, but everybody has that pathetic friend that you can't stand. But I think it's one of those things where, Kramer and Newman are friends, but Kramer doesn't respect him, and he just I just wish this guy was out of my life.
Right.
That's kind of the impression I got.
But it's also relative. Kramer goes over to Jerry's, and if George and Elaine are there, everyone would sort of be looking at Kramer as sort of the lower tier specimen.
Right.
So, but Kramer points out that Newman has no job, no women.
He called the right guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no postman yet.
No, not yet. So if he is technically unemployed now, we don't find out that Newman works for the United States Postal Service until The Old Man, which is towards the end of season 4.
Right. This also, I don't know if this came, popped in your head, but the no job, no woman reminds me of the conversation that Kramer and George had in the coffee shop in the Keys when he's like, "You got a job?
No.
You have a woman?"
No.
Do you have any prospects?
No.
Do you have any foreseeable reason to get up out of bed in the morning?
I like to get the New York Times.
Daily News.
Oh, God.
Can I get a new host in here, please?
I did that on purpose. Come on. So there's this bit here. I mean, we're really beating this to death, but Kramer says, what should I tell him? How much there is for him to live for? Why should I lie to him? Now, this little bit here, is Kramer talking about Newman, like Newman's life isn't all together, or is he just talking about life in general? Like, is Kramer sort of depressed and a little melancholy here?
I mean, given his entrance and his disposition, maybe he is a little melancholy, but as a whole, I don't think so. I think I think Kramer's just living his life one day at a time, loving it.
Yeah.
Doing his thing. So I don't think Kramer was ever, it's rare you see Kramer sad on Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You see him cry when he breaks up with I love you, that girlfriend, but that's more comical. But actually, genuinely sad. We've seen Elaine cry. Mm-hmm. We've seen George cry. Jerry's even cried. You
see Kramer. I don't even know if we see him sad technically. You see him down or serious.
Yeah.
So Jerry is leaving to drop off his laundry, and Kramer asks why he doesn't use the machines in the basement. And there's just a little bit here that I love.
Why don't you use the machines down in the basement?
Fluff and fold, the only way to live. I drop it off, I pick it up. It's a delight.
How about if I put a few things in
Wait
the
a second, I don't want to do that.
Oh, you're going over there.
I don't want to mix in everything. My guys don't know your guys. You can't just lock them all in the same machine together. They'll start a riot.
Have you ever met my guys?
Oh, I can't say as I have.
Well.
All right, put them on top.
One of the best lines of all time.
No, what is it? Which one are you talking about?
You know what I'm...
The It's a Delight or the Fluff and Fold?
Both. Put them together. Everything about this line, I love. Just the delivery. It's like really eloquent and flowy. It's like poetry. But I gotta say, if there's ever a chance where I can say, it's a delight in a conversation, I'm gonna say it.
Yes.
And hopefully somebody gets it.
Yeah, this is one of those lines that as Seinfeld fans, I feel like we introduce into our everyday life as much as possible. Well, Kramer wants to add some of his clothes to the mix, but Jerry doesn't want to. I like this line, the my guys don't know your guys. This just is very Seinfeldian here, this idea of personifying clothes.
It's so Seinfeldian that we also see it in The Implant when Kramer wants to borrow Jerry's bathing suit. I don't want your boys down there. What's wrong with my boys? Your boys should stay in their neighborhood. Also about I'm sorry, I'm on a roll right now. But also reminds me of the Chinese woman where Kramer's talking about the secure packaging of jockeys.
Yes.
Can I have the line?
My boys need a house.
There it is. Thank you.
Eventually, Jerry caves, and I love how Kramer just starts taking off his shirt.
Yeah. Good.
Right there in the moment.
Nice touch.
Totally.
There was some different dialogue in this scene. Jerry originally replied, "You'll frighten them. That's when the detergent comes in. They'll tense up. You got to be relaxed to clean."
One thing to pull from the commentary in this scene, which I enjoy because they talk a little bit about the clothing, the costumes of the episode. And I don't know if we've really gotten into Kramer's outfits too much this show.
No.
But, I think we do note when the outfits get a little more vintagey.
Yes.
But, there's sort of an interesting, I don't want to say like cultural phenomenon, because I think vintage has kind of, in a sense, always been a thing.
Yeah.
But Kramer's shirts, Michael Richards pointed out that he used to pick up those shirts for maybe $10 to $15. And, nowadays in the 2014, we're recording this, some of those shirts can go for $150 in the store.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I seem to recall the costume, wardrobe designer. She said originally they would just go to thrift stores and buy clothes, but because that look and that vintage style got so popular, they couldn't find it anymore. So she had to just make her own patterns from scratch.
Yes, that's going to be really interesting I think you even notice it as a viewer that Kramer's style, while it stays vintage, it gets a little too...
It doesn't look like he bought it in a thrift store. Is that what you're saying?
It still has that vintage look to it, right. But it doesn't look... I mean, the outfits in these early seasons looks like it's taken right off the rack.
Well, because the point of the wardrobe was he had the high pants, so you saw the white socks, and the shirts that were a little snug. This is a guy that, right? Originally, this was a guy that never left his apartment, so these are the clothes he had from the 70s,
Or you would assume that, like, maybe even his father wore
Right, exactly. So
or some guy left behind,
Yeah.
you know? And if anyone's curious, I don't know if these stores are around anymore. Vinny, we have never been to L.A.
not together.
No. What does that mean? Oh, you have been to L.A.
Yes.
You cheating
You
bastard.
don't say.
Well, when you were out in L.A., you should have checked out some retro stores like Polka Dots and Moonbeams, because that's where they bought a lot of these shirts from.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if those stores are still around, so if anyone's out in LA, you should check them out and see if you can pick up a Kramer outfit. Next scene is at the laundromat. Jerry's talking to the laundromat guy. In the script, at least, his name is Vic. And do you know where we've seen this actor before?
Good question, Aguado. We've seen John Capadese from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. He plays Aguado.
I feel so bad for this guy. He's been in like the industry for decades, and we're like, oh yeah, Aguado.
But he's so good as Aguado. Looks like somebody lost a turtle. So Jerry wants Kramer's stuff washed in a separate machine. He'll pay whatever it costs to get in the separate machine. And he would prefer if the machines were not even touching.
Because something could jump across. It's channeling a little Jim Carrey there.
Yeah. Oh, how fitting.
George shows up out of the blue, and I love that moment because it really doesn't make sense, the fact that George would be there.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? How'd you get here? And George says, Kramer. Now, before we get on to the conversation, there's a bit of, I don't want to say deleted scenes, because I don't think this stuff was ever filmed, but in the original script, what happened in the previous scene?
So there was an apartment hallway, Jerry's apartment hallway scene between George and Kramer. And George came by to tell Jerry that he quit, but only Kramer was there. So Kramer noticed that George was only wearing one shoe, and George replies, man's best friend. So does that mean a dog took his shoe?
I think so. It's a little confusing.
It's very confusing. And the scene was supposed to explain how George knew where to find Jerry at the laundromat, but then they just figured, well, George could just say he saw Kramer, so they cut it.
We might even cut this entire conversation out.
Up here, I'm already cut.
George explains to Jerry what happened at the office. But this is actually a bit of info that, we actually don't know yet. But he went into Rick Levitan's private bathroom. Then he gets this memo telling him to use the men's room in the hall that they share with Pace Electronics, which I guess is some, other business operating on the same floor.
Now, is this the first we hear of George's obsession with toilets or bathrooms?
Yeah, and you know what, man? I don't know why this slipped my mind. I don't know what kind of Seinfeld fan I am, but I kind of forgot, leading up to this moment, because I haven't watched any later Seinfeld episodes, than the order we're going in.
Nor have I. I'm saving them, actually.
Yeah, it's really weird to experience the first really George bathroom issue.
Yeah.
Because it does come up quite a bit in the show.
Well, this is integral to George's being, so much that in the Curb Your Enthusiasm Seinfeld reunion show, George's the fictional George character
Get it out.
in the Curb shut your mouth. The fictional George character in the Curb universe creates a iToilet app for the iPhone. So they're still using it to this day.
Good
It was
point.
a good bit in the 90s, and it's still relevant today.
Now, I can't think of that many off the top of my head, but the George bathroom plot lines that come to mind are the, that cold open of the, the Man Hands episode where he takes George takes Kramer and Jerry to that, random office building.
Yes.
He's like, this is one of the best bathrooms in Midtown.
He knows.
And then, of course, there's the private handicap bathroom at play now.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're talking like every season there has to be like a George bathroom joke.
He discusses toilet paper, the evolution of toilet paper with Sienna.
There you go. He takes his shirt off in the bathroom.
There you go. Good one.
God, what is going on here? George and his bathrooms. I love it, though. It's a great like little hang-up he has, or just
Yeah.
something that really fascinates him.
Which I would love to know. Is that Larry David?
I would think so, without a doubt.
So more little behind-the-scenes quips. At the laundromat, George originally shared other things about Levitan that led to him quitting. First, George handed Levitan a check, and Levitan took out a lighter and burned it right in front of George, claiming that the real estate offer was too low. So that was one thing. Another thing, which is really cool, is that Levitan propositioned Ava right in front of George while they were still going out. So there's that connection to the Stranded, right? When George takes home Ava. But should we talk about now the episode order and how it doesn't make sense until we watch it in this order right now?
For those of you that have been listening to our podcast, you don't really need to worry about anything. But if this is anyone's first podcast, we were watching The Stranded as a part of season 2 as it was originally planned. During its original air date, it actually aired during season 3 for a few reasons we're not really entirely sure of. We heard Larry David wasn't very satisfied with the episode. We heard
I don't know why he was. Would it be?
we heard that NBC wanted to have an extra episode banked for the third season. And I've also heard recently that actually it was just a scheduling conflict that cropped up. So who knows? But once you watch The Stranded in the proper order for season 2, you see that, George was to date Ava. And I guess at some point between The Stranded and The Revenge, Rick Levitan would have sort of put the moves on her.
And actually, I was going to mention this earlier, but in the opening scene, when we see Levitan for the first time on the phone, when he talks about, I got it all on video, I'm thinking of Ava, because later on, we're going to hear, Ava, what happened to you this weekend? I got tied up.
You got to save this, man. That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your note.
It's okay.
Sorry. Let's start over.
A little preview of coming attractions.
Wiggles, rewind.
Jerry asks George, what is he going to do now that he quit? But no one's hiring in real estate right now, so George is sort of stuck and sitting with his decision that he quit. So
speaking of sitting, this scene coming up is just quintessential Seinfeld. I going into this episode, I was like, The Revenge, yeah. But man, going through it, I'm like, damn, this is a solid episode.
Well, you know how I like to sprinkle a lot of clips from the show throughout this episode. I think this clip deserves to be played nearly in its entirety.
Do it.
I like sports. I could do something in sports.
In what capacity?
Like the general manager of a baseball team.
Yeah, well, that can be tough to get.
Well, it doesn't even have to be the general manager. Maybe I could be like an announcer, like a color man. You know how I always make those interesting comments during the game?
Yeah, you make good comments.
So what about that?
Well, they tend to give those jobs to ex-ball players and people that are, in broadcasting.
Well, that's really not fair.
I know. Well, okay. What else do you like?
Movies. I like to watch movies.
Yeah.
Do they pay people to watch movies?
Projectionists.
That's true.
But you gotta know how to work the projector.
Right.
And it's probably a union thing.
Those unions. Okay, sports, movies. What about a talk show host?
Talk show host, that's good.
I think I'd be good at that. I talk to people all the time. Someone even told me once they thought I'd be a good talk show host.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of people. How do you get that, though? Where do you start?
Well, that's where it gets tricky.
You can't just walk into a building and say, I want to be a talk show host.
I wouldn't think so.
It's all politics.
All right, okay. Sports, movies, talk show hosts. What else?
This could have been a huge mistake.
Well, it doesn't sound like you completely thought this through.
Guess not. What should I do?
Maybe you can just go back.
Go back?
Yeah. Pretend like it never happened.
You mean just walk into the staff meeting on Monday morning like it never happened?
Sure. You're an emotional person. People don't take you seriously.
Just go back. Pretend the whole thing never happened.
Never happened.
I was blowing off a little steam, so what?
So what? You're entitled.
I'm emotional.
That's right, you're emotional.
Never happened.
Never happened.
I would say of the top 10 Seinfeld scenes, this has to be at least in the running for just one of the best interactions between any characters ever on the show.
Yeah, or if somebody's like, show me a scene that embodies Seinfeld, this would be one that I would think of. Like, you got it. This is Jerry. Like, I love how Jerry is being so sympathetic, and I see it as him being a dad, and he's nurturing his son who's lost his way about, trying to figure out what he's going to do with the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. But but it's comical because George is coming up with these outlandish career choices for himself, and Jerry's like, okay, well, that can be tough to get. He's being sympathetic, but he's also there's humor in there too, and they're like walking this wonderful line, and it's beautiful.
Which of these job ideas do you think would be best suited for George? I mean, one of them is a bit prophetic, but other than let's say the sports one, the general manager of a baseball team, since George does go to work for the Yankees eventually, even though he's the assistant to the traveling secretary. What do you think, though, would he be better at? Would he be better in broadcasting or a projectionist at the movies?
The funny thing is, I'd love to see him as a talk show host, because I think if he was the center of attention and got to be the one in control asking people questions, I feel like he'd be a really charming talk show host.
Right.
I don't know. I'd like to see George with his own talk show.
Yeah, that would be really good. I could see him in sort of like not a small town necessarily, but a small time radio station. Mm-hmm. I doubt you've ever seen the show, but it's called Alan Partridge. And it was this really good British comedy show with Steve Coogan, who is just a hilarious British comedian.
From Curb.
Yeah, from Curb. And he's Alan Partridge is kind of like this just really like cheesy, lame radio show host, and just really full of himself. And I feel like George would, if he thought he was really good at something, he'd really think he's, hot stuff, even though everyone disagrees with it. So I could just sort of see George in that setting.
Now, we have seen Kramer as a talk show host.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Yeah.
That Merv Griffin show, man, that is, oof, that's a good one.
Okay, let's take a short break. We just did the entire scene. We let everybody listen to it. One thing to note, it was originally set in the coffee shop, but I love, and I think, I have a feeling, we can't be sure, but I love how the way it's blocked, in that Jerry is on the couch and he's up high, and George is sitting with his legs underneath the coffee table and he's down low. There's something about that I think adds to the comedy.
Oh, I think that's a great observation.
You think conscious choice?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if someone's sitting on the floor, kind of defeated. I haven't had too many of those moments, but I've definitely had those moments before where you have sort of this, I don't know, life-changing conversation, or what you hope is a life-changing conversation with someone. And you're just, slouched on the floor. I think that's actually how most of our dorm room, when we first met, like our dorm room conversations were, someone would come over, just lean against the wall or
sit on the futon. Yeah. Then we have a convo.
Also, we were just, heaping praise on this scene. And I think most people would agree. In the episode commentary, Jason Alexander points out that this is his favorite scene that he ever played with Jerry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
And Julia actually was jealous and wished she was in it. She knew when she read the scene that it was just fantastic, and
she gets to be in a version of it later.
Yeah,
which is cool.
I had that in the back of my mind when I watched that last scene. I'm like, yeah, she did get her way, but this routine, that scene with Julia is almost just kind of like the real funny part of it is it's an exact mirror of the scene.
Yeah.
But to be honest, this original scene, as it were, it's pretty special, and it says something a lot about, I think, the Jerry and George characters, how they can just totally, two dudes sitting in a room having a normal back and forth can just be comic gold.
And another thing I that stood out to me was, can this still be done in a sitcom today, in having two characters sitting, talking very low key, nothing's happening except just words are being exchanged, just a conversation, and it's very subdued, the tone. Mm-hmm. But it's still funny. It feels like everything on TV now in the sitcom world has to be really over the top.
Yeah. It's just really well done, man. And to answer your question, no, I don't think you could ever have a scene like this. If anything, if you had a scene like this, everyone would be saying, hey, that's like Seinfeld. You know, that idea of just two people sitting in a room, bouncing back and forth. It's really something I feel like this show really, I mean, they obviously capitalized on it, but they really, I think, branded as their own.
And they do it effortlessly too, which was cool. I thought you were gonna make a Mulaney joke just there. You kind of got set up for a Mulaney joke.
Mulaney has to be mentioned in every episode. Next scene is a bit of stand-up.
To me, the most annoying thing about the couple of times that I did work in an office is that when you go in the morning, you say hi to everyone, and then for some reason throughout the day, you have to continue to greet these people all day, every time you see them. I mean, you walk in morning Bill, morning Bob, how you doing? Fine. 10 minutes later, you see him in the hall. How you doing? Every time you pass, you got to come up with another little greeting. You know, you start racking your brains. You know, you do the little eyebrow, you know, hey. Start coming up with nicknames for him. Jimbo.
And I got to say, man, this is so true. Wherever I've worked, fortunately, where I've worked, it's not very formal, but you're constantly running into the same people all the time throughout the day. And for whatever reason, maybe it's my own insecurities, I feel like I have to acknowledge their presence. You know, you can't just go from nods to nothing. There always has to be some kind of acknowledgement.
No, you cannot. Jerry is...
Sounds like you had a mouthful.
Yeah, I didn't disguise that well at all. Jerry is 2 for 2 now with his stand-ups. Like, these are 2 home runs in terms of taking something we all go through in everyday life and applying it to the stage. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is something you learn in college as well. You're in the dorm, you're passing by your dorm mates. If you're walking to the bathroom, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Hey, how you doing? And then eventually it's like, oh, screw it. Nod. Eyebrow raise. And for somebody who's never had a job in an office, I'm sure he had 1 or 2. It's so well done, man. Mm. I feel like we're praising Jerry this episode. No Elaine yet.
Hey, I'm not. Listen, I don't mean to be an ass. But
God.
I'm not the biggest fan of this stand-up comedy. I mean, it's good and all, but it doesn't make me, oh, that is so clever. Oh, that is so good.
You're going to get a nasty email this week.
I'll just add it to the pile.
From me.
Next scene is back at Rick Bar Properties. You didn't think, you'd ever see this set again, but here we are. This time we're in an office, like a conference room. It's Monday morning. Keep
in mind, George has just quit on Friday.
Yeah. It's pretty apparent. He's so desperately saying hi to people like nothing's wrong. Like, morning, hi.
Morning, fine morning.
And he first hears from Glenda. Who is,
what are you doing here?
Do you have an actress's name for this?
Well, I should say I do. Yeah, her name's Patrika Darbo. She plays Glenda in The Revenge, but she's also credited as Woman at Mailbox in The Sniffing Accountant.
All right, so...
I know what you're going to say.
Dare I ask, is this a double dipper?
Well, I would like to believe it is still Glenda. Like, it's just Glenda mailing a package, and or a letter, and she happens to run into Newman, who's going to feel her material.
Johnny!
Oh, I'm glad you did that.
What do you think, though? Should we make this a double dipper?
I think it's a double dipper. I would make an executive call to say, yes, it's a double dipper.
Hang on, though. We do have... there might be precedent for this. Frank Piazza, he played a man at the bank in a mail-in bonding.
Yes.
And he came back to play a cop in The Stranded. Now, we considered him a double dipper, but he could have been an off-duty cop when he was in the bank.
Yeah, it's an iffy dipper. So I think one of the criteria in this situation would be how memorable are the 2 dips? Because with Frank Piazza, both of his roles are kind of forgettable. And I completely forgot. I didn't even realize that was him at the bank. I remember him in the Stranded with the old boy. I remember that, but I had no idea it was him. But technically, he's a double dipper with Patrika Darbo, who plays Glenda. This role is very memorable with busting George's balls throughout this episode, and then when she makes that Johnny line, Johnny, that is very memorable. So I think hands down, she has to be a double dipper.
Okay, and something just also to add to the mix, just help us kind of figure out, how we're going to move forward on this. We might have to proceed on a case-by-case basis. Yeah. I guess it really just depends. Since we're the ones who are like deciding who gives a shit.
We made up this stupid show to begin with.
So we'll call her Double Dipper, huh?
Double Dipper.
Double Dipper, I hardly know her.
Double dipped? What are you talking about?
You dipped the chip, you took a bite, and you dipped again.
Congratulations, Patrika
Darbo.
You are
Gabbo.
you are the Double Dipper for this episode. Now, some guy sitting at the end of the table we later know as Dan, he's Dan. He talks to a guy named Bill at the other end of the table. Now, Bill is played by Dec McKenzie. Now, Vinny, who is Dec McKenzie for those who don't know?
Everybody should know who Dec McKenzie is. You've seen him in at least 13 Seinfeld episodes. He is Jerry Standen. He played Jerry Standen for the run of the series. I have a list if you'd like to hear it.
Let's do it.
So he plays Bill in The Revenge. He's credited as just a voice in The Cafe, but he plays Angry Man voice. He's reporter number 2 in The Trip Part 2. He is the TMI long-distance operator in The Pitch, who I believe Jerry hangs up on, and he gets a nice round of applause. He plays the security guard in the airport, whom Kramer gets away from.
Hey, man, you're in a lot of trouble. I remember that.
Yeah. Run like a girl. Get your knees up. He plays Scott in The Outing, which that one I'm not sure. I don't know who Scott is.
Is Scott one of the guys at the table who's like, he points at the newspaper? He's like, you're Jerry Seinfeld, right?
Perhaps. Yeah,
Maybe.
that could be it. He plays Mitch in The Sniffing Accountant. Have a beer, Charlie.
The name's Mitch.
There it is. Oh, I love it. See, that's a great one for Dec. He plays the bartender in The Fire, which means he's probably Mitch again, even though he's uncredited, according to that one. Mm-hmm. He plays man in the video store in The Couch. He plays the delivery man in The Doorman.
Yes.
How about those
That's
Knicks?
a big one, yeah.
That's a big one. He plays the customer being robbed in The Maestro.
Huh.
And he plays man in coffee shop in The Money. And then he plays just man in The Muffin Tops.
Man. So this is someone, there's something about we're just talking about Double Dippers. There's something about the stand-ins doing cameos that I don't think really counts technically.
No.
Who's Kramer's stand-in? Norman
Brenner.
You know, we haven't really been following his cameo appearances. Maybe we should in the future. It's kind of hard when you do an audio podcast to be like, oh, check out.
You see him walk by just there, guys?
I mean, we break this episode down so much. Why don't we acknowledge him? But I think it's the fact that he shows up so much. Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't think Dec McKenzie should really count as a double dipper. Or we should really be following his exploits.
I'm in complete agreement with you. I salute him for his contributions to the show, but he's no double dipper.
So Dec McKenzie, we salute you. Show wing. So it's funny, this guy Dan just goes on and on about his weekend, how he took the kids up to the Cape, took them sailing, and talks about his daughter. She's going to be a fine sailor one day, and George is interrupting this whole time. Yep, good weekend. Oh, she's going to be a fine sailor.
Oh, George.
This is the George that I love to hate. It's so pathetic.
Yes.
And,
well, remember I said, I forget which episode it was, but I wasn't feeling the way George came off in that episode. But this, I'm digging George, man. I like sensitive George. I'm liking him again here. Like, he's all over the place. I like the passion with the quitting. Mm-hmm. And now I like him trying to weasel his way back in.
Yeah, it's just so pathetic.
And then I like that he's going for revenge later on in the ep. But I'm digging George here.
So Rick Levitan enters, and he sits at the end of the table, starts the meeting. George is hiding behind his folder, and right at the start, Rick, as you mentioned, asks Ava, what happened to her Friday afternoon, and she says she got tied up, and Rick's response is,
I bet you did. Here's some more of that misogyny coming out.
Oh, dude, he's so disgusting. The thing that really blows my mind, though, is you have Ava, and you have... What's the redhead's name again? Glenda.
Gabbo.
Gabbo.
Patrika Darbo plays Glenda.
We're going to call her Gabbo from now on.
Gabbo.
She, that is Glenda and Ava, everyone starts laughing at this joke. And I'm like, this is so weird. Almost to the point where Rick has this hold over everyone in his office.
Yeah. Well, this is, I'm sure, 1990, before all this, PC stuff was still coming out.
Yeah, women's rights and all that stuff.
And
abolishing sexual harassment in the workplace. I mean, come on. But it really caught me off guard that all the women would start laughing. But yeah, I guess that's just kind of the control that Rick has over his employees. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned earlier too, Vinny, that Terry Austin returns as Ava in this episode. If you're watching The Stranded in the proper season 2 order, it does make me think you're right again that the woman at the beginning that Rick mentions over the phone
To Brecky
was in fact Ava for sure. So Rick goes on to say that Rick Bar Properties, the company they all work for, is having its 10th anniversary Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. at Lasky's Bar on Madison and 48th. There's a lot of good trivia questions there for you. Dude, it is so scary when Rick, you don't see the moment where he notices him, but he just whips his head to Bill, and he's so, you can see that like anger in him. It scares me a little bit.
You're afraid of the blowfish.
Is that Costanza over there? What are you doing here?
What?
Am I crazy? Or didn't you quit?
When?
Friday.
Oh, what? That? Are you kidding? I didn't quit. Why? You took that seriously.
You mean laughing stock, all that stuff?
Come on, will you stop it?
No brains, no ability?
Teasing. What?
Okay. I want you out of here.
I don't know where you're getting this from. You're serious, aren't you? Oh. You see, you don't know my sense of humor. I mean, Dan, don't I joke around all the time?
I wouldn't say all the time.
You can't win. You can't beat me. That's why I'm here and you're there. Because I'm a winner. I'll always be a winner. And you'll always be a loser.
This firing of sorts. I don't know if I guess George technically quit already, so it's not like Levitan gets to fire him. But when Levitan dresses George down in front of the office, he's so calm. I mean, he's a little upset, but for the most part, he's very calm. And everything he's saying is very simple, right to the point. And it is so incredibly harsh.
Yes.
I think, because it's so true. And I have my own. I like to get on my little soapbox every once in a while and ramble like a crazy person. But
Here it comes.
No, it's that idea of the elitist mentality. You know, the person at the top of the food chain, whether you're, you know, an exec that makes 6 or 7 figures, or just, you know, whatever your role is in society, to actually look at other people as beneath you, and you're over there and I'm up here on my mountain. It just. Oof! It's so, it's just so chilling that people, you know, think that way, and unfortunately, it's kind of the way the world works. All right, back to the comedy.
Hold on. So when he says, "You can't beat me, you can't win, you can't beat me," that's why I'm here and you're there. When he says "there" and he does this motion with his fingers, they're pointed down, and he flicks them at George as if he's just an insignificant piece of dust.
Yeah.
It's it's chilling, like you said, and that sticks out to me as the finger flick. You're there.
It's not even worth kind of saying like pointing like over there with a hand motion, like a big wave. You're so tiny. Oof. Obviously, it's the sexism and the misogyny
and the jello pudding and the okay.
Oh God! But you really hate Levitan in this scene.
Yes,
I feel like in this moment, this is where this is. I think he might be. At least at this point, he's the character that I love to hate the most. I've kind of complained about a lot of characters, but I only complain about them because I find them annoying. I'm complaining about, or I didn't like the actor's performance. Levitan I hate as a character. He is just so evil, and I don't know if we get a character as, nothing comes to mind as sinister as him.
Yeah, Sinister is a good one, because like we all hated Joel Hornick, but as an annoying person, not. We like Kevin Dunn. He's awesome. But this guy, you want to throw bricks at him.
Next scene is at the laundromat. We do a lot of bouncing back, you know, in the show. It's like Rick Bar employees, laundromat, Rick Bar, laundromat. But George is explaining to Jerry what Levitan said to him. And already, yeah, I guess not. George has come up with a plan. He's going to slip him a Mickey, which the whole episode rests upon. Now, Vinny, do you know anything about Mickey's, you know, working in pharmacy? Do you know anything about the Can I get a prescription for Mickey's? How do people get these things?
I mean, chloral hydrate's a compound they use for sedation. It causes rapid loss of consciousness, but I don't know as much about the illicit. Well, it's not an illicit substance, but yeah, I don't know too much about it.
Is it something like, I mean, that chemical, the chloral hydrate, is that something you would use in, if you're going into surgery or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's probably used in the realm of sedation, which is something I don't really have a lot of experience with.
Sure.
So I don't really know too much about it.
Right. Well, Jerry Jerry is the voice of reason. I think he's pretty much the voice of reason throughout the entire show. It reaches the point where he's like, oh, Moses, smell the roses, or...
oh, help me, Rhonda. Yeah.
Yeah, later he just sort of gives up to the idiot mobile. But he even calls George. He's like, what are you, Peter Lorre? Which I like that joke a lot. Another one of those, it's like a pop culture joke, but if you weren't really into film or if you weren't from an earlier generation, it would be kind of like a tougher joke to get.
So that one's actually over my head.
Right. Well, he was an actor from mainly like the 30s, maybe the 20s, but the 30s to the 50s. He was in like Casablanca, Maltese Falcon. And what's funny, though, is I'm sure most people who grew up in the 90s would know him. He was parodied a lot on Animaniacs and
really?
Tiny Toons. Yeah, he was kind of like the... Oh, boss, are you sure you want... I can't do the imitation. It's really bad. But, yeah, Casablanca, Maltese Falcon. All right. But a lot of film noir.
Cool.
Well, George thinks this upcoming party is the best time to, drop him a Mickey because Rick's been looking forward to this party for months and it'll destroy the whole thing. And Jerry says, well, what if you destroy him? And now, is Jerry implying that he could kill him?
Yeah.
Can Mickeys kill?
You lose consciousness, you don't wake up.
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah. Did you notice, though, how George's voice reaches a comedic pitch here?
Oh, yeah. George is very excited.
I'm on this little Mickey. It's a beautiful thing. Da-da-da-da-da.
Even if this episode didn't end well for George, I'm so happy for him in this moment because I've never seen him this elated or this excited about, potentially screwing someone over. It's great. It makes me happy.
And one of my favorite things of Seinfeld is when the tables or the chips fall in George's favor, which is very rare. But when it does, it's great to see, that elation.
Or it sometimes comes with sort of there's a consequence. He gets his way, but he loses something.
He becomes single, but the fiance dies. Things like that.
So George claims he's researched it. Rick's only going to get a little woozy. He might keel over. Just keeps on changing.
You've really gone mental. Where are you going to get this, Mickey? I can't believe I'm saying Mickey.
Well, Mickey, I have a source.
You got a Mickey source.
George also adds that Elaine is going to keep Rick busy.
How do you rope her into this?
Well, he roped her into it by telling her what a sexist he and how he cheats on his wife.
So she knew that.
But she didn't know he doesn't recycle, which I never really thought was that funny, but thinking about it now, it is pretty good. Elaine is such a...
that was the last straw.
Oh, she's such an environmentalist, such a progressive woman. He doesn't recycle. This guy's a real bastard.
That's it. We're going to poison him.
Oh, we should also mention, too, how excited George gets because this is all a beautiful thing. It's like something they would do in a movie.
Yes.
Get revenge, slip someone a Mickey. Now, before we leave the scene, Jerry asks, what's the point of all this while he's picking up his laundry? And George says, revenge. And Jerry has this little bit of advice here.
The best revenge is living well.
And George replies with, there's no chance with that. Have you heard this advice before? That, the best revenge is living well?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
No? I think it's a cliche thing they say when you're trying to get over a breakup, I think that's one of them. Or losing a friend is... if you're angry with somebody...
Are you trying to tell me something?
No. But if you part ways with somebody and you're bitter at them, rather than wanting to get back at them to hurt them, the best revenge is living well. So if one day they see how well you're doing, that's going to hurt them more than if you try and do something vindictive against them.
Are you breaking up with me?
We're going out?
Get a little act break here, and next scene we are at Jerry's apartment. Kramer again entering looking depressed.
He jumped.
Newman jumped, and Jerry asks if he called last night. And do you notice how Kramer's like, yeah. Just...
He's like flabbergasted.
Oh, yeah, totally. I wonder what that's like for Michael Richards to deal purely with dialogue, and serious dialogue at that.
Yeah, he doesn't have his tricks just yet. He's starting to develop them.
Yeah, definitely. Later in this episode, we have a lot to say about that. But Kramer told Newman apparently to wave to him when he passed by his window. And
Did he wave?
Okay, so help me out with this scene. I do not, for the life of me, understand the tone of this scene. So is Kramer going in there feeling bad about it, or is he like sort of leading Jerry on to then say, oh, well, he jumped from the second floor? Because what made Jerry say, did he wave? Like, is he trying to break the tension here, or does he know that Newman is okay?
I think it's going to be the latter, because Kramer's very serious, and then he says that wave question, and Kramer immediately breaks into smile or a smirk. He's like, no. Yeah. He's lying out there, faking it. Mr. Papa Nicholas, so I think he's totally, Jerry and Kramer, I think, are both in on the joke. And they both can't stand Newman, as we know. So that's why, they're kind of playing this little game with each other. But to the audience, you think Kramer's really upset about it.
Yeah. Okay. That helps totally. I could see that. So they're both playing a joke on each other here. And maybe it's not until this moment that they both realize, hey, we're on the same page. Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Papanikolaou, who you mentioned,
that has to be the coolest last name I've ever heard.
Oh, it reminds me of, it's like on par with Mr. Bevilacqua,
the high school gym teacher.
Now, Kramer added something here.
Wait, we didn't say that Mr. Papanikolaou, though, is actually named after Pete Papanikolaou, who was part of the production crew. And you always see his name pop up in the credits. Can't miss that name.
Oh, really? I never noticed it before.
I also saw Joan Van Horn. Remember the line producer who was feeding the baby?
Oh, the greasy corned beef hash.
Hash, yeah. I'd like to have a kid. I'm seeing these names of little people that pop in the show. And then also, if you remember in the episode where Kramer is gambling and he wins big, was that the Subway, I guess? Is it the Subway?
Yeah, with...
Give me the money! You notice Papanik is the name of the horse?
Right. He loves a slop.
I feel like they took that from Papanikolaou.
Oh, I could see that.
Now,
this whole thing, Mr. Papanikolaou, saw Newman jump from the second floor, and he's just in the street lying. How do these guys know who Mr. Papanikolaou is? Is he maybe some neighborhood, old guy, I assume, that might talk to everyone?
He's doing a rear window thing.
Okay. Kramer does add that Newman is trying to get back at him. For what? What is Newman getting back at Kramer for?
Good question. Yeah, we don't know the origin of their relationship yet.
You really don't. I seem to recall there being some, either we get into this later or we've already talked about it, the idea that Newman would have been the super...
The son of the super.
Right. So you wonder if they had a lot of other elements planned here, and that maybe no one really liked Newman. He was a spoiled brat.
Well, Newman's kind of an agitator. I don't like the Newman.
Maybe the fact that Kramer was harassing Newman for so long. Hey, jump, come on. Just egging him on. He's getting back at him. He's going to jump, but it's going to be from a safe height. Now, this is something here, a bit of trivia that I find just fascinating because we talked about this during the apartment episode a few episodes back with the characters of Harold and Manny. Harold in particular, Glenn Shaddix, I think his name was.
Something like that.
As we know from Beetlejuice, for example.
There you
go. He was actually supposed to make a return for this episode.
Yeah.
And he would have been a part of the Newman suicide story. And from what I understand, his scene would have been a part of this story beat here. It would have been after Newman already jumped off the roof. Jumped from the second floor. And apparently Harold was telling Jerry and Kramer that Newman told everybody that an awning broke his fall, and it's a miracle that he survived.
Yeah, and again, thinking of this scene, visualizing it, I'm thinking of Wayne Knight playing Newman, but we don't have a visual reference for him yet. So,
No.
and they don't poke fun at Newman's weight or Wayne Knight's weight early on, right?
They don't, but we have a little bit more to address about this Newman storyline in the last scene, but I think at this point you're actually supposed to assume that Newman was a little bit larger.
That's what I don't know. I thought he was just saying it's a miracle that this happened. The awning broke my fall. I didn't die because of the awning, not because there's no way an awning would have saved me because I'm so. I don't think
big.
it had. I don't think it was a reference to being overweight. I think that's just us having Newman as our having Wayne Knight as our reference.
Sure. And we're kind of stumbling over this bit here because there's not really kind of a clear direction of what the Newman storyline would have been.
Yeah.
It was, we'll get into this in the final scene, as I mentioned, but Newman was actually cast for this episode. Like they had an actual scene with the Newman character, but it just seems like so much got scrapped and reshuffled that unfortunately, Harold never would have returned. Manny, for that matter, too. I don't know if Manny would have been in the scene, but Harold would go on to say that he has to go with Manny to the dentist because he's scared. Mm-hmm. So just, again, the possibility that Harold and Manny would have returned just, I don't know, really gets me excited.
You love Harold and Manny.
It's Harold, man.
I don't see it.
It's Glenn Shaddix, and just remembering him from Beetlejuice so well. I just love I love his voice. I love just his mannerisms. He's just a funny guy.
Well, he is horrifying. It's funny, like a lot of stuff got cut from this, or at least in first drafts. Eventually, got cut out of the draft. But I keep hearing these things. Could this have been a double episode or an extended episode?
A two-parter, yeah.
A 44-minute one?
It sounds like it could have been, especially if the things that George was mentioning to Jerry about why he wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Like,
we could have seen those and play out in scenes.
You could have seen what a jerk Rick Levitan was that led to George eventually quitting. Good call.
Thank you.
And now in this moment, Jerry suddenly realizes something and starts emptying out his bag of clean laundry and explaining that on Thursday when he came home, he had $1,500, but for some reason he decided to hide it in his laundry bag, completely forgot about it. It's missing, and he gets really panicky, runs out of the apartment with Kramer, heading to the laundromat. And at the laundromat, Vic claims that he never saw the money, and you can tell I like Kramer kind of like calling people out on their BS a little bit here. It's like tough Kramer.
This is the second time in 3 or 4 episodes that he's upset with injustice happening to his friends.
Yeah.
Because in the statue, he's like, let's go get him. Mm-hmm. But this is, again, come on, give the money, give the guy back his money.
Right.
Now, I got something for you. I actually didn't plan, or I didn't think ahead, but did you notice?
I didn't think ahead.
Did you notice the jacket that Kramer is wearing in this scene?
I didn't. Are you about to blow my mind?
Yes, I am. Are you going to pull it up?
I can pull up the episode real quick.
This is a real reaction here.
Oh my God. Jesus. I can't believe I didn't recognize that.
Neither did I.
All right. For those of you who are...
Screen grab, please.
Yes. And for those of you that aren't watching the episode while listening to this, Kramer is wearing none other than the suede jacket from
with the button stripes, with the pink striped candy lining,
with a bunch of like water stains on it from when Jerry got caught in the snow. That's incredible. Yes. Did you know about this?
I saw it this morning. I was amazed. I don't know if they do this on purpose or that's what they have for wardrobe, or is this Larry David being even more of a genius than we know of? But what a pull. Like, they had this episode, couple episodes back, and now they throw it back in. I love it.
I know there'll be at least a few dozen people out there that's like, you guys are just noticing this for the first time?
Sure they will.
Excellent eagle eye there, Vinny. Nice
Thank
work.
You.
Take the night off. So to finish up the scene, nothing really happens here. It's mainly just Vic pointing out that, hey, I'm not responsible for valuables. And Jerry starts criticizing him. Oh, you can just do whatever you want because you have a sign up. You're not a part of society. You have a license to steal. You are the James Bond of laundry.
I figured you'd like that line.
Yeah, like any... What are the 3 franchises? Star Wars, Batman, James Bond.
There you go.
Anything referencing those, I'm a fan. So Vic ain't budging, so Jerry decides to leave defeated. Kramer says they can't let him get away with this, so they're off brewing a revenge scheme. Meanwhile, we go to the bar.
Is it time? Do we get to see her?
Well, all right, put your pants back on, Vinny. I don't know why they're off and why
Let me show you.
You're swinging them around. But real quick, before we get into the bar here, do you recall this establishing shot of the bar?
Yeah, there's like a couple walking in a very 90s looking attire.
Okay, you say 90s, dude. I don't know if it's the outfits or if it's just like the film, like.
Oh yeah, really grainy.
Oh, it looks like it's out of like the early 80s, maybe late 70s. It is really weird. For all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what show am I watching here? It's like an episode of like TJ Hooker. It's really weird, but I'll post a screen grab on Facebook and Twitter, see if anyone else agrees with me. But also interesting to note, in the window of the bar, it says Jake's.
I noticed that.
Yeah, now what's the bar he said they were going to meet in?
Lasky's.
Lasky's, so something's not lining up. Mm-hmm. But yes, who do we see at the bar? There's George, and he's talking to...
Lady! And man, her wall of hair is working today. That thing is high as hell.
You can always tell what kind of mood she's in based on the height of the hair.
Yeah. Happy high.
So they're scoping out the bar or this restaurant. George points out Levitan to her. He's the one that looks like a blowfish.
Now, I always like these kind of nuggets, but in another version of the scene, George describes Levitan as the one who looks like he could give birth to lizards.
Okay, yeah.
I like blowfish better.
Yeah, I like blowfish. It's easier to visualize.
Yeah. And then in the original version of this scene, Elaine mentioned that she and Ava had an argument over the fur coat. And after recalling this, George got cold feet. But then when he saw Rick and Ava laughing together, that's when he decided that he would be able to go through with this Mickey revenge scheme after all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. Like I don't know why he would get cold feet. Maybe
just because Elaine brought up the incident, or just because he got cold feet because he saw...
Well, it sounds like he'd either get cold feet because he's afraid Elaine might not be able to do this, and she might, start a fight with Ava or Levitan.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just kind of still heartbroken, like he's kind of hurt what happened with Ava.
Sensitive George.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, though, I kind of like that. Just any kind of connective tissue to like a previous episode. Now, I don't know exactly if that bit of material was filmed for this episode and they cut it because they realized, hey, The Stranded is going to be shelved until season 3, and they're like, oh, we can't have that in this episode. Or if they cut it out of the script.
Well, like we said earlier, George and Ava sit next to each other in the office. There's no look, there's no emotion, there's nothing to even hint that they dated previously.
Right. It makes me think, though, that they probably didn't include this in the scene itself, just because it's just adding maybe too much to the scene. Why have George get cold feet only to come right back to the mission at hand
from a previous situation that we haven't even seen because it's being pushed back? Like, we can't put this in. They haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah. Now George thanks Elaine for doing this, helping him slip a Mickey into Levitan's drink. And interesting to note, she says, why pass up the opportunity to go to prison? Which I never picked up on before.
Illusion. Yeah, right.
The little foreshadowing of the finale, for sure. That honestly might be my favorite bit of foreshadowing in the show. I mean, forget the whole, I really want to work for the Yankees, or any kind of little development like that. Anytime someone references jail, the denim or the orange jumpsuit, just oof,
right.
Love it.
That heavy denim.
Yes.
Where the lunch lady slaps that gruel on your plate.
Now, this is, you want to say Elaine is adorable in this episode. George, oh my God, he turns the cute factor up, my friend. He and Elaine get so excited in this scene.
That's true. They're like gushing.
Oh,
and it's rare that you get to see the two of them like this. So it is a nice treat.
This is by far the most exciting thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
First time in my life I've ever gotten back at someone.
I can't believe we're doing this. This is the kind of thing they do in the movies.
That's exactly what I told Jerry.
Really?
Yes. God, I've never felt so alive.
Can't believe we didn't even mention this. This is the first Elaine-George scene.
Hey.
This is the first time we get them together. And secondly, this is the first time you get them, as you put it, scheming. They're working together on something. And that's fantastic. I forgot, actually, how much I love... When you have to talk about the pairings of characters, other than the traditional Jerry and George, I think George and Elaine is my favorite pairing.
And I agree with you, and it's a really nice pairing, but it makes me sad that Elaine is going to get more bitter and more... She gets dark and, not evil, but, her character really takes a turn. And it's nice to see the cute, the Elaine that we are swooning over these past 15 episodes. It's nice to see that Elaine interact with George, because it's completely different to the one that will only give him $1 for being a gigolo.
Yeah, absolutely. They get so excited. She's like, "Oh, this is like a movie," and he's like, "That's exactly what I told Jerry." They both pop food in their mouth at the same time. Even though Julia missed out on that great scene between Jerry and George earlier, it's nice to know, like, she doesn't show up until what, maybe halfway through the episode. She has some great material to work with. Mm-hmm. This episode, I was going to save this for ratings and reviews, but this episode really does a nice job of putting Jerry kind of to the background. Mm-hmm. Reminds me a little bit of the busboy.
Yep.
You get the other characters to kind of rise up. George, I think, takes center stage as usual, but we still get a lot of great stuff with Kramer and Elaine this episode. Speaking of which, we're back at the laundromat.
I want to steal this from you because Jerry drops this very heavy bag of laundry, right?
I think I know what you're going to talk about.
Do you know what I'm going? Do you notice when he puts it on the chair and he looks up and off into the distance, he's got this smirk on his face, like he just knows the interaction he's about to have with Michael Richards. That makes it so much more enjoyable as a fan to see this guy just living it up. Like he's loving it. And I had to rewind it because I saw it. I said, did he just smile and look off camera? And he did.
I was trying to find a good screen grab, but it's hard because there's some moments that just can't be captured with a still. It's like this. It's like a GIF would be more appropriate. But
yeah,
just Jerry, he actually looks. He doesn't look at Kramer's eye line. It's a little bit off stage, and it makes me wonder if he was locking eyes with like Larry David or someone, and they just knew what was about to happen in this scene.
Oh, so good.
I'm so glad you picked up on that.
Thank you.
Now, the bag he set down, of course, is not filled with clothes. It's a little bit heavier. It's filled with little concrete, and Kramer explains they're going to put it in the washing machine. It'll mix with the water, and by the end of the cycle, it'll be a solid block. And I like how Jerry criticizes him here.
If only you could put your mind to something worthwhile. You're like Lex Luthor. Is it Lex Luthor?
I always said Lex Luthor.
That's
but
what I say.
I think Luthor might be more appropriate. It is O-R. You'd think a show like Seinfeld would have more Superman references. For some reason, it's synonymous with, every episode has a Superman reference, which is just so... I don't know why that bit of trivia had any legs to stand on.
And I actually just thought of something. What are when you think of the colors of Seinfeld, what colors do you think of?
It's blue, red, and yellow.
And what colors does Superman have? Anyway, let's go. Let's move on.
So Kramer tells Jerry to keep Vic busy while he carries the bag to the machine. And, oh, God, just this 17 episodes into the show. And I feel like we're now getting the most, physical comedic Kramer moment.
This is absolute brilliance. And if he didn't win an Emmy for this, I don't know who deserved it more. For just this scene alone, he crushes it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to post this scene on Facebook and Twitter because, I mean, what the hell? How can we talk about it on this podcast? But yeah Michael Richards is just fantastic in this scene.
There's there's all these little subtle things that the actors are doing, but one that Michael Richards does here is when he looks at Vic, although he'll always be Aguado to me. He gives him this polite head tilt nod thing, and then Kramer starts twirling his hair and looking off at the sign on the wall as if to look completely inconspicuous. But it's so nonchalant. It's so perfect. Oh.
Now, a little bit of trivia here for this scene, because we will come back to it, back and forth between this and the bar. But apparently, Tom Sharonis said this when they got the script, and Kramer is supposed to pour this concrete into the washing machine. Michael Richards insisted on having a 60-pound bag.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted the real weight. He is, in a sense, a method actor, and this kind of goes to the parking garage when he didn't want just an empty box. He wanted an air conditioner in the box.
I'm glad you said that.
But this idea, that Michael has to, he can't just work with a prop. He wants the real thing.
It'll be funnier that way.
Mm-hmm. And Michael Richards actually went on to say this scene itself was a turning point where Kramer struggles with the concrete mix. Instead of talking funny, he wanted to do funny. Even though we've seen Kramer, I think, do little mannerisms, the slide through the door, which are great, but you finally get to see the spotlight on Michael Richards doing what he does best, which is the physical stuff.
I like the way he phrased it, too, in the interview of doing funny. I thought that was neat. Nice the way he said that.
And it goes back to that debate we have, what is Kramer? Is he more talk funny or is he more do funny?
It's both. It can't be one without the other. With his noises and his little clicks and his facial expressions, his slides, when he crashes into a wall.
Now we're back at the bar, and George explains to Elaine, go over to Rick, start flirting, and while she's keeping him busy, he'll slip the Mickey into the drink. And Elaine here in the moment suggests, wouldn't it be easier if you just punch him in the mouth? And did this remind you of, we kind of had a conversation, I mean, in the early days of Seincast a few months ago, when we first met the Elaine character, she was a bit like, she was tough, you know, she had some attitude. She could, it sounded like she could kind of handle herself in a fight if she needed to.
Oh, when she needed guy in the groin once and got the cab?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this is like an Elaine that we get little hints of, and we'll see, I think, a much, more violent physical Elaine in later seasons.
I think that's one of the things I'm so attracted to with this character is that she's so beautiful and cute on the surface, but like underneath she's a badass, if you will. You know, like she doesn't take crap from anybody.
No, that's true. And I mean, God, talk about a wonderful scene here too. Between Kramer and Elaine in this episode, they just have two wonderful scenes to work with here. In this case, it's Elaine trying to get Rick's attention. She like bumps into him. And when she says hi,
Didn't she strike you as like a little kid?
Yeah, and at the same time, though, I think she's playing the wrong game. I think she's trying too hard. Even though she knows what a pig this guy is,
yeah,
she thinks, oh, all I need to do is I need him to notice me, and that'll be enough.
Hi.
Hi. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really, I mean that. I am not one of those people who gives insincere thank yous. No, sir. No, sir. When I thank somebody, I really thank them. So, thank you.
I'm not defending Rick here at all, but if you were sitting at the bar and I don't want to say Elaine, but if someone came up to you and started acting this way, I'd be a little weirded out. I'm like, Are you okay? But
so he appears more annoyed by this, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
And now she's like struggling to come up with a topic, right?
And she finds it.
It finally hits her, and then she says it with such ease. So I'm going to a nudist colony next week, and now he's immediately intrigued. And she's like, oh, okay, I got him on the hook. So I love nudist colonies. They help me unwind. Blah. Lots of times she'll just shut the door to her office and sit there naked. You know, she works naked a couple hours a day.
It makes you wonder if Elaine had this sort of as a last resort. You know, she didn't want to have to lower herself to be like that of, I don't know, you know, let's say Levitan's type. Mm-hmm. If she was planning to do this like as the last resort, or if it just kind of clicked, it hit her in the moment. She's like, oh, wait, I have to lower myself if I want to get this guy's attention. Yeah. But she's good at it, you know, like even though it's completely ridiculous, and we'll get into more later, especially when she has to tell him a secret. But I mean, it's so absurd that I don't get how the Elaine character is coming up with this kind of stuff, because really it would be beneath her, I would think, for her to be like, I'm not going to like flirt with this guy and just totally lower myself in order for you to slip a Mickey into his drink. But
perhaps the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
So, or it's a means to an end.
I think it's the fact that Elaine is so righteous in these early episodes, and she just loves the idea of someone like him getting his comeuppance.
Yeah.
Justifies it.
So then Glenda comes over and inconveniently takes the chair that George was about to sit in to set up the Mickey. And then George asks her for the seat, and then she, in a very loud voice, says, "What do you have to sit here for? There are plenty of other seats." And George continues to whisper under his breath. And she's like, "What are you doing here anyway? I thought you got fired."
I love this type of humor just because George is so desperate not to be noticed, and she won't just talk at a normal volume.
Right. And then we find out other things Elaine will do while she's naked. She cooks naked. She cleans naked. She drives naked.
Another good set of, you know, potential trivia questions. I like that. What 3 things does Elaine do naked?
There you go.
Who are you?
Oh, you don't want to know, mister. I'm trouble.
This remind you of anything? I might be reaching here, but there's this kind of this theme running this episode, you know, kind
The
of
film noir kind of look?
yeah, the whole
Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, like it's got the Peter Lorre reference and the Mickey. Well, it reminds me of two things. One is George's line in the Little Kicks when Anna is talking to George on the phone, and she's like, "Hey, George, what are you doing?" And he's like, "You don't want to know."
Yeah, okay,
Like,
I'm with you.
You know, he's ironing his clothes, just
Yeah.
being the bad boy. Anna takes the bad boy, and tying it back to the Elaine character, she gets this weird sort of I don't want to say femme fatale, but Double Indemnity, kind of like a fast talking 1940s woman who in the doorman episode, she's like, "Good, now fix me a drink."
Exactly. As soon as you said that, I knew that was coming. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, totally.
Good call.
Hey, and this is something we might have referenced in an earlier episode of Seincast, and it's something I have to keep track of all of these. This is something I want to be a reoccurring segment and to see if either of us pick up on it or if any of our listeners pick up on it. But when after Elaine, lists all the things she does naked and she goes naked, 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 you can hear a very unique laugh coming from what would assume to be the audience, but it's in fact the Castle Rock executive, Glenn Padnick, who we've talked about before. And he has a laugh that, if I didn't know any better, I would just assume is like a bit of stock like audience laughter that they just throw in there in a scene. But no, this is an exec on the show laughing so hard at the material from, probably next to the camera standing there with Larry David.
How cool is that?
I love that. So let's play a little clip here of this laugh, and everyone should try to memorize this laughter so we can recognize it in later episodes.
Right around naked, naked, naked.
Naked, naked, naked.
And I know I've heard that laughter before, and we will hear it in later episodes. All right, we're back at the laundromat. Kramer still struggling with that concrete.
Ooh, he's killing it.
I think this might be the best moment. One of the best moments of this scene is where he kind of runs at the washing machine and the lid closes.
He swings open the lid with such momentum that when he tries to pour in the cement, the door closes before he can even get the cement in. So then it's pouring out everywhere and it's accumulating. There's dust and sediments just rising up. And Jerry's trying to keep Vic busy, and he's going on about the gentle cycle. Is it effeminate for a man to put clothes on a gentle cycle? And Michael, we shoot back to Michael, and he's getting it in his eye, and it's just so good. I'm like gushing over this episode. But there's actually a nice blooper. There's a season 1 and 2 bloopers feature on the DVDs, and there's a really nice blooper where Michael finishes pouring the cement in the machine. And then he leans up against the door of the laundromat, but he falls through the door, and you see through that shot another set behind the laundromat. And I think it's the set of the coffee shop.
Oh,
but it's a nice level of behind the curtain what's going on. But the blooper is just great.
It's so funny you mentioned that because I haven't watched. I'm kind of saving the blooper reels, even though I've seen them before, until we finish the season, so you can kind of enjoy the scenes they messed up on because they're all kind of fresh in your mind. But so I'm dying to watch that. But they actually bring up this blooper in the commentary with Jason, Julia, and Michael. And Michael does say on the original first take the door opened and he fell through. And I guess I'm kind of making this up, but I get the vibe that he might have wanted to use that take, but because of what you see in the background, it was ruined. And they get into this little bit of a conversation, which we've had before, and I think probably a lot of Seinfeld fans have had once they see the bloopers, how serious Michael Richards was on the set and how serious he just took the role and this idea of comedy.
We never picked up on that until the DVD started coming out when we were in college.
Yeah.
And we remarked at how, man, Julia, Jason, and Jerry, they're laughing in between takes, and Michael is like, I just have a line, if we can get to it. And we were both really taken aback, and it kind of it I don't want to say it ruined it or changed things for us, but we definitely got a sense that Michael is less alike than the other three in that regard.
Jason points this out on the commentary. He says that throughout the show, he would see Michael Richards finish a take, kind of like this, take this laundromat scene, for example. He'd finish this amazing scene. The audience, in this scene, apparently the audience went nuts, but the audience would go nuts after Michael's performance, and then Michael would walk off the set like he would never have a career again. Mm-hmm. He was never happy how anything went. And Michael Richards goes on to say, like, he had, like Larry David in him. Not Larry David the person, but this idea that the stuff he was doing was never up to snuff.
Yeah.
Larry David kind of felt the same way about his writing. Oh, that's the last good script I'm ever going to write.
I'm finished.
Yeah, I'm finished. And Michael felt that way, that, I don't want to just say it's neurotic, but it's just you're so hard on yourself.
It's a desperation. I think they've said it about Larry. Mm-hmm. Or Jerry will say it's not the beautiful mind; it's a desperate mind. There's a lot of intense desperation in Larry David's mind.
Yeah, and probably the same thing with Michael Richards. I've read a few quotes where he says he, as a kid would, harm himself. He would hurt himself physically in order to get a laugh.
Yeah, he ran into trees.
Yes, and it's like
his friends found it funny.
And part of me kind of like understands what he's talking about. Maybe you remember that too. Maybe as a kid, you're just maybe so desperate for someone to like you or to find you funny or to accept you, you will hurt yourself. And I wonder if he's, God, I don't want to like paint him in the wrong light, but what a torturous life to have, where you will put yourself through pain to make people laugh, and you're never happy with what you accomplished.
I think that kind of humor is now commonplace with the younger generations. Like look at Jackass and like hitting people in the groin and falling out of cars, like that. That's like commonplace now.
But
whereas Michael Richards was...
But they're enjoying it though.
True. Yeah, you're right. He seems to be doing it
as a craft.
Yeah.
It's like, Michael Richards, your performance in this scene is just not as funny as Johnny Knoxville getting hit in the balls.
Hi, I'm Michael Richards, and this is Seinfeld.
And once Kramer is finished with his mission, it's so good. I doubt the makeup did this. I think the concrete powder on Michael's face was all done by him.
Yeah, it's caked on, and it's like it's covering his eye in a way that's perfect.
You wonder if that stuff actually, I bet you, got in his eye, and it really did burn. But he has that great line.
I didn't realize it was a full box.
And our last scene at the bar, Elaine is still talking to Rick. George goes over to Glenda for the second time, and no bullshit this time. He says he's going to count to 3 or the wig is coming off.
I don't wear a wig.
1.
And she's up. She's out of there.
So good.
So this is, I think, a very telling line that Elaine says. She's still wooing over Levitan. And she says, well, I don't really have a phone or an apartment. I kind of just sleep around. And that kind of surprised me that she would go to that level to say that.
Oh, Elaine. And this is the moment here that really made me laugh, because the stuff she's really throwing at Rick is so immature and pathetic that anyone would be really turned on about it the way he is.
Would you close your eyes a second? I want to tell you a secret about my bra.
So George drops the Mickey into Rick's drink, and he interrupts the convo. Just, hey, how you doing, Rick? And
really happy to see him.
Oh yeah, they are. I think Rick's probably a little drunk at this point.
And he's had this, good fortune of this beautiful woman kind of attempting to seduce him. Oh, yeah, so he's happy as a clam.
He's a lucky guy. Things just fall into his lap, and he's in.
Boom!
Oh yeah, when George does that, he drops his hand down like an explosion. Yeah. Rick is in such a good mood that he realizes maybe he was a little rough on George. Why should they let petty differences get in the way of business? And to make a long story short,
too late.
He wants George to come back. And with that, he can use his bathroom anytime he wants.
Now, stop right there. George has the option to not only get his job back, but also use the private bathroom, which is the whole reason he quit in the first place. He will actually win in this episode, right?
Yes.
He'll get everything he wants, and nothing bad will come of it, right?
Oh, I don't know if that was part of the guarantee. Rick's like, and George, I promise you, nothing bad will ever come from this.
Yeah. No, I mean, but then Well, before we get to that, I guess Levitan wants to propose a toast to 10 great years at Rick Bar Properties.
I want to propose a toast to 10 great years at Rick Bar Properties.
Rick.
And all the people in this room that made that possible.
Rick,
I'd also like to welcome back into the fold our little shrimpy friend, George Costanza, who, although he really didn't have a very good year, how you blew that McConnell deal, I'll never know. But hey, what the hell, huh? We've always enjoyed his antics around the office. Anything you want to add to this?
drink up.
But I don't know. It struck me that, man, George could walk away clean from this.
But would it?
He doesn't even have to say. He doesn't even have to say that he slipped the Mickey. It could have been just that Levitan was drunk and had too much and got sick.
Well, let's back up here for a second.
Beep, beep, beep.
Beep, beep. You're saying that George didn't have to say anything. Wait, time out. Does George even say anything about the Mickey? Because we know he tells him, hey, drink up. And it's such a satisfying sort of end because it's like a twist and then another twist. You know, boom, twist again.
Try to keep up, D. I think my point is that George would rather go through with the revenge and not continue at Rick Bar than stay at the job, you know, dislike his boss, but get to use the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like the revenge is sweeter for him. So he could conceivably still have the job.
Okay, so
I guess I don't know how that factors into does he let Levitan take the drink and keep his job, or does he let him take the drink and then not even show up? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, something that kind of confused me about this scene as a whole is why does George not have a job in the next scene? Why is he out of a job again?
Because he wanted to stick with the revenge and go through with it.
But who knew? Who says that George put a Mickey in his drink?
That's the question, Jimmy. Like, you know, we don't know.
Obviously, something happened to Rick. You know, he either passed out or he went into, you know, cardiac arrest or something horrible happened.
He's dead.
That'd be incredible if George killed someone.
Yeah.
George blatantly murdered someone and he never got caught.
And it didn't take until season 7 to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the most obvious answer is George confessed to it and said, hey, I slipped you a Mickey. You know, who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a little kind of confusing. I guess you just have to assume something happened where, I mean, if he was hospitalized, maybe the cops got involved.
Did a toxicology kind of thing?
Because I assume a Mickey I would assume like slipping someone a Mickey is an illegal act, but maybe the use of a Mickey might get the cops involved. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying is, maybe the revenge was so sweet that Rick Levitan, you know, took a swig, passed out, and then George just had to announce that he was the one that slipped him a Mickey because in this moment, as Rick gives the toast, George realizes in that moment, wait, what am I going back to? A boss that tolerates me and lets me use his bathroom to be, you know, disrespected, abused, and it's just a matter of time until we go back to our old ways that made me want to quit to begin with. Because it wasn't the bathroom.
No.
That was like just maybe the final straw for George. It was a lot of other issues, and I think the toast is evidence of what George is going to be walking back to. So, hey, it.
Yeah.
We're swearing a lot this episode.
I know. Are you going to bleep them all out?
Oh, of course.
It's a Christian podcast.
And just to close this up, that definitely feels like a Larry David moment. I get the whole arc of quitting is based on Larry David's life, but that feels like a Curb moment, I should say, where Larry, you're free. You don't have to worry about this anymore, but you just have to say something.
Yep. A lot of situations in Curb where Larry has to make a choice, and he can't help but, you know, stick his foot right back in his mouth.
Yes. Now the last scene is at Jerry's apartment, and it's lovely. Soon we'll have all 4 characters there, but for the moment, it's just George sitting at the coffee table again, saying how much this time he likes history, Civil War.
He wants to be a buff.
Right. But this did make me think of Larry David, though, because didn't he study history?
Yep, at Maryland.
But
what do you think they did for toilet paper in the Civil War? Everything comes back to toilet paper with you.
And he thinks maybe he could be a professor or something. And as you mentioned, Vinny, earlier in the episode, now it's Elaine helping him out, saying, oh, well, you need to know a lot about those things.
think you need a degree.
Now, Kramer enters, and I don't know how you describe this. He's sort of like subtly, almost probably guilty is probably the best word to describe it.
Yeah.
Hands an
He feels
envelope
bad.
to Jerry, almost.
And he tries to do it on the hush.
Yeah, and it's the $1,500 Jerry lost, which I assume he got paid for. Like he did a show or something like that.
Probably, yeah.
And it was in Kramer's laundry. And this just kind of wraps up their whole storyline. Jerry told him not to mix in their guys, but ultimately the damage done to the machine was about $1,200. So they're
It works out so perfectly
yeah,
from a
it's-
writing standpoint.
Oh yeah, I love this. It's Jerry's storyline kind of I think is fourth tier this episode.
Yeah.
but it does get wrapped up nicely.
And it's really, well, we'll talk about this in the reviews, but it's really cool how like two sets of characters attempted revenge plots
Yes.
and they both kind of backfired. I mean, they got the revenge, but at the same time, they got burned in the process.
Yeah, they each had a caper.
That's what it is. A caper.
Now, at this moment, I had no idea how the hell we're supposed to handle this, because most people who own the DVDs know exactly what we're about to talk about with
Yes, they do.
the Newman part here, and I also don't know how most people watch Seinfeld. If you're not watching on TV, you're watching some version online, and I assume that's the syndicated version.
Most likely. So the question is, are you a syndicated Seinfeld watcher or a DVD watcher?
Right. And if you're a syndicated watcher, there's nothing really to note about this scene other than hearing Wayne Knight screaming,
Kramer! That's Newman. I'm on the roof!
Well, what are you waiting for?
So let's play the clip of how this scene originally aired.
Kramer!
That's Newman.
I'm on the roof! Well, what are you waiting for?
And of course, we get an off-camera appearance by none other than
LD.
LD, Larry David, who read for the role of Newman in this scene in its first broadcast. And this is something we'll address later on in the show on Seinfeld for another major character, actually, George's father, right?
Jerry Stiller, who we know as Frank Costanza, but originally he was played by actor John Randolph, who some may know, at least I know him best as Clark Griswold's father in Christmas Vacation. It's a beaut, Clark. It's a beaut.
But yeah, what you're saying is they would on the original run they would have someone filling in for a role, and in syndicated versions they would either reshoot or in this take re-record an actor saying something so it fit with the continuity of the show. So there we go.
Yeah. In most circumstances, I'd want to see like the syndicated version because that's the one I'm used to. So I want Jerry Stiller. He'll always be my Frank Costanza. But the funny thing is, I like hearing Larry. Anytime Larry gets incorporated into an episode, I'm all for it. And we're gonna see Wayne Knight enough that I like hearing Larry go, "I'm on the roof."
Well, it's so weird to, in a sense, meet a character that, like we say, will become like the fifth member of the group. Hearing him, just the audio, like that's so bizarre.
Yeah.
It would make sense if this was someone else in the building. Instead of Newman, it was Boomin, Dr. Boomin, or
Dr.
whatever.
Bloomin.
Bloomin. That would make more sense. And then we meet Newman properly next season on screen. Now, to get into a little bit of trivia for this episode regarding the Newman character, he was meant to appear in this episode, and they actually held auditions, and the role eventually went to William Thomas Jr. And it's interesting to note that William Thomas Jr. is African American, and I thought it really would have. It's really a shame because another actor who's also African American, Tim Russ, read for the role. So I wonder if they were, going for someone of color for this Newman role. We've kind of debated the size of the actor. Was that a factor? Because both of these guys, to my knowledge, are pretty slim dudes. But I think that they were going in like an angle of, let's get, someone of color on this show. I don't know if Newman was going to be a regular role or if it was just going to be a one-off appearance, but I hate saying this because I love Wayne Knight and no one can replace him, but
No.
I always felt that Seinfeld, the show, was kind of lacking with people of color or any kind of minorities.
I'd agree with that. In terms of recurring characters or just, people with larger roles, like chunks of storyline.
Yeah.
You had some great characters come through of, some black actors or Hispanic. Mm-hmm. They were some really great people coming through, but nobody that got
front
a nice
and center.
Exactly.
Yeah, no one. And it almost becomes, I'm sure the writers came up with that storyline where George thinks that, or Mr. Morgan accuses him of thinking all black people look alike.
Right. Sugar Ray Leonard could eat here on the house.
But that gets into that whole storyline of, do you know any, you don't have any black friends? And he has to pull in the one black character they ever had on the show, Carl the Exterminator.
Yeah. But even to the point where this was addressed in Curb, where Larry had a run-in with a black woman who said, is it a black thing with Larry David? You never had any black actors on Seinfeld, and you hired a white friend of your wife's to be on the show. So I guess that's something that stuck with Larry to a point where he put it in Curb as well.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Now, again, we don't know if Newman was ever meant to be African-American, but in his only on-screen scene, Newman would describe his miraculous survival from a suicide, but Jerry and Kramer are kind of skeptical, and it's pretty obvious, I guess, why this stuff was removed from the episode. I guess they took it out of the script before filming.
Yeah.
I guess the Newman storyline just wasn't really going anywhere, and it's just much funnier to have him be this off-screen character.
Agreed.
That you just hear about. We kind of bounce between all the characters. Jerry and Elaine head out to give Vic at the laundromat the money. George is just sitting at the table thinking about horses. Maybe he could be a stable boy. I don't know where that came from. And I love that bit with Kramer where he's like, hey, Newman, you want to shoot some pool later?
I can't. I'm going on moving.
George caps the scene with, it's probably a union thing.
Yeah, bringing it full circle. And you did read, though, that there was supposed to be a different final line for this episode?
In the original draft, George said, what about a comedian? I'm funny. Don't you think I'm funny?
And as he says this, I assume no one else is in the apartment, right?
Jerry and Elaine are probably closing the door. Or, nobody, they've already left.
Right, it's just George sitting there alone.
I like this for the, I guess, nostalgia or historical importance of it, in that Seinfeld originally was going to be two comedians going back and forth, how they get the material. So I thought this would have been a cool nod to how the show originated. And George would have been like, what about a comedian? I'm funny,
And poking fun at, someone, especially the idea, George, someone who has no experience with stand-up comedy, could just pick up stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Anyone could do it. You don't have to have that much talent.
I was doing stand-up comedy in Kennebunkport, Maine. I've played there.
Did you note, though, that this is the first Seinfeld episode to end without stand-up? I mean, there's stand-up later during the credits, but we get the executive producer credit on a scene.
I did notice that, and I was going to ask you if that was the first, because it felt like they just squeezed the stand-up in at the end. Like they just snuck it in because they rolled the credits and they played the music, and then you had the stand-up in the rolling credits at the end.
People like the idea of revenge. Have you ever heard the expression, the best revenge is living well? I've said this. In other words, it means supposedly the best way to get back at someone is just by being happy and successful in your own life. Sounds nice. Doesn't really work on that Charles Bronson kind of level. You know what I mean? Those movies where his whole family just gets wiped out by some street scum. I think you could go up to him, Charlie, forget the 357. What you need is a custom-made suit and a convertible. New carpeting, French doors, a divan. That'll show those punks.
Yeah, the final stand-up, which we, again, like you mentioned, we get over credits, is, it's funny, and it does kind of feel like it was written for the show, though. It doesn't feel like original Jerry material.
I agree. I do like the Charles Bronson reference. I think that's a nice little joke. But yeah, it's nice and comfortable and familiar to end with stand-up. So I'm glad they did.
Yeah, they got it in there. But you have to say, if you're not used to watching the credits of the show, because typically it's just stills of Jerry just with the credits rolling. If you didn't catch that portion, you would be like, whoa, there's no stand-up comedy taking me out of this episode. But
whoa.
As we've discussed, though, that is sort of getting phased out of the show as a whole, and we're just going to get the comedy at the top. All right, Vinny, it's getting pretty late. What do you say we move on to our ratings?
Sure, let's do it.
So, what do you think?
This is one of those episodes that kind of snuck up on me. I think a lot of season 2 episodes do this, where I don't have very high expectations. I know the basic gist of the episode, and there wasn't anything too memorable. But the context, the way we're watching these episodes, really focusing on them, really paying attention. This episode is fantastic. One of the best of season 2, I think. It's not a Chinese restaurant type episode when you look at the series as a whole, but I think this might be the second or third best episode of the season. Love, what's the guy's name? Fred Applegate.
Fred Applegate?
Yes.
As Levitan?
As Levitan. Again, to reiterate, someone I just love to hate. I think he's just absolutely despicable. I think he does a great job. He's someone that I think was able to really elevate this character. I think it would have been really easy to just be so disgusting you don't even like the character at all, but you do like him. You love how just gross and creepy and sleazy he is. I think Michael Richards absolutely shined in this episode. I think Julia, in a sense, absolutely shined this episode. She had to work off of the Rick Levitan character in a sense, but I think she was just as wonderful as Michael was in a different way. Another episode that focuses primarily around George's life, which seems to be pretty common on this show, and it's more prevalent than I remembered. I always thought these shows really centered around Jerry, but really they kind of seem to be focused on George just as much as Jerry at times. Love the fact that all of the characters got sort of some equal amount of screen time this episode. If not screen time, everyone pulled their weight. Everyone carried 25% of the show. I love that the storylines were pulled almost directly from Larry David's life. I think you don't always know this, but whenever you find a storyline that works so well, it's no surprise that it comes from Larry David's life. So all in all, not much to say that I haven't said already, so I'm going to give this 8.5 visits to a nudist colony with Rick Levitan out of 10.
That might be the longest rating ever we've had. When I heard we were doing The Revenge this week, or I saw it was on deck, I was like, The Revenge, blah, as Elaine says. But I feel like I've been turned around on this episode. Even like watching it, I had a smile on my face. There were things that made me laugh out loud. And then talking about it with you, maybe it's because it's 1:46 in the morning right now. But I got a nice, wholesome feeling about this episode. And I love how there was 2 sets of characters, each scheming. I do that every week. I got to stop doing that. But there were 2 sets of characters scheming in 2 separate ways, but they end up coming together at the end. We all finish in the apartment. It's nice. I love whenever things go the right way for George. That always makes me happy. And that's probably why the opposite is probably one of my favorite episodes of Seinfeld, if not my favorite. But we'll talk about that in a couple years. Kramer's physical comedy in this show just does it for me. I probably beat it to death, but I cannot get enough of how it's like poetry. It's poetry in motion, and it's just a thing of beauty. Elaine's adorable. I'm all over the place with this rating.
I think we should do more of our recordings late at night.
I'm a little loopy, but I wasn't gonna give this a really high rating, but I gotta have to change my tune here. So with that all over the place rant, I'm gonna give this 9 fluff and folds out of 10.
Whoa, my goodness!
Yeah, I'm in a good mood, man. This is a great little episode.
Let's record the deal right now. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, that's going to do it for us at Seincast. Vinny, would you like to let everyone know how they can get in touch with us?
Yes. We say this every week. You know the drill. Seincast@gmail.com if you want to email us. Seincast on Facebook. Google it. Seincast on Twitter, @Seincast.
And if you haven't already, please take a few minutes to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Hopefully the more feedback we get, the more likely other Seinfeld fans will find out about the show. I think we've gotten quite a few new listeners the past couple of weeks, which has just been awesome. I don't understand how the ratings of the show really works, but as long as we get more likes and more downloads, we're really happy because I don't know. There's nothing better than like finding or making contact with a new Seinfeld fan. It's just the best.
I didn't think that people out there shared our level of enthusiasm for this show, even considering that it's been off the air for so many years. But there are a lot of people that are always shooting us little comments or little links to things that we didn't even know about. So it's great that there are other like-minded individuals out there. It's awesome. It's great to know that there are other people that love Seinfeld as much as we do. So,
and with that being said, what episode are we talking about next week, Vinny?
We will be discussing the 13th and final episode of season 2, The Deal. And Matt, you know what it's going to include?
What's that?
It's going to include this. It's going to include that.
And the other. But for now, I'm Matt.
I'm Vinny.
Signing off. Seincast is not endorsed by Castle Rock Entertainment, Sony Pictures, or NBC, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. The official Seinfeld site can be found at sonypictures.com/TV/Seinfeld. Seinfeld, the Seinfeld logo, and all names, pictures, and audio of Seinfeld characters are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Castle Rock Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders.
What is the point of all this?
Revenge.
Oh, the best revenge is living well.
There's no chance of that.